Thanks everybody for coming out. My name is Paul DiDiego. I'm with Pizza Paul's Perfect Pies, starting a food truck. We're just still in the startup stage, very early on, but going to be out there soon. I don't know if you've ever been to 1 Million Cups before. This is a product of the Kauffman Foundation. We're here to support and encourage other entrepreneurs in the community, maybe do some troubleshooting with them as well. At this point, I'd like to thank our coffee sponsor, if she's ready to come up, Kirsty Logan with the Sleepy Turtle Coffee Company.
Hey guys, my name is Kirsty. I am owner of the Sleepy Turtle Coffee Co., a mobile coffee shop located here in Colorado Springs and in the Front Range. I do all sorts of stuff. I do special parties, grand openings, wholesale, private labels, all that. And I'm also working with the Bountiful Table, which is a distribution here at the Next Us every Tuesday from 3 to 6. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you so much. And we'd also like to thank our coffee sponsor, the Ding Guys. Jared, would you like to come up and say something?
I'm Jared with the Dean Guy. This thing's a little tall for me, guys. We're just super excited about being part of this group, eventually getting our owner in here to present in front of everybody with the changes we're making in the community. Our focus right now is helping people protect their vehicles to maintain that value, since we're seeing record high vehicle sale prices in this market, and there's nobody trying to fill that gap, so we're at least trying to help our local community, and going from there. We appreciate you guys having us.
Thank you so much. We'd also like to thank the SBDC and the BBB for our coffee cups. Would anyone like to come up and say anything? No? Okay. Didn't think so. All right. So at this point, we could introduce our first presenter, Batina Aloisi. Of Social Meeting.
All right, awesome. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this is a great crowd. Thank you so much for having me. I only have 6 minutes, so I'm going to jump right in. My name is Batina Aloisi. I need this. This was the cue. Oh God. I'm a walker and a talker. My name is Batina Aloisi. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Social Meeting, and I wanted to start out with a quick story. In April of 2020, I was working for a very global company in a very corporate role. I was taking calls at 5 a.m. in the morning with colleagues in the Middle East and Europe. I was leading a team during the day with colleagues in Latin and North America, and I was often having to stay up super late at night, sometimes 10 or 11 o'clock, to take calls with key constituents in Japan and in China. This was making for a really long, overwhelming day. I had back-to-back meetings. I had barely enough time to do the work that I had actually been paid to do. I was missing time with my children. I couldn't do bedtime stories. I couldn't bring my kids to school in the morning, and I just wanted to change that. So with Social Meeting, that's what we're doing. I wanted to start off with a question to the audience, but before that, we'll start with the statistic. Did you guys know over the course of your professional career, you will have spent 22 years in meetings? Is that pretty crazy? 22 years. Raise your hand if you've ever been in a meeting that you didn't need to be in. It's probably happening this week too. Raise your hand if you've ever been in a meeting that could have been an email. Almost everybody. Or what about my favorite, the meetings with low or no engagement? Super cringy, right? Yeah, awesome. Well, with Social Meeting, we're going to do something about that. Social Meeting is a pre-recorded platform with live two-way interaction. It was built for teams across time zones, colleagues, contractors, internal communications, as well as external communications, and it is a mashup of LinkedIn meets YouTube meets Apple Podcasts. It was built for busy people that interact with busy people. So people in highly collaborative roles that are struggling with meeting productivity, time, coordination, but mostly out of the pandemic Zoom fatigue. Since March of 2020, we're spending 5x more time in meetings than ever before. Can you believe that? 5x. 11 million meetings happen every day in the US alone. We're spending about 50 minutes in a given meeting. This is happening 25 times in a given week. And the story goes, the higher you are on the corporate ladder, or the more important you are in your company, the more time you're spending in your meetings. And today's meeting options are really limited. We're either limited to a place, we're limited to a time and a place, or we're limited to meetings that have one-way interaction and are lacking that real-time engagement. This is all leading companies to lose loss of time, loss of productivity, and loss of money. For one or more of these challenges that you see here, it is costing companies about $540 billion in lost productivity annually. So they're not happy about that. However, meetings are here to stay. We hate them, we love them, but we absolutely need them. All we're asking for is a better way to do them. And thanks to the pandemic, 85% of meetings are now done remotely. We probably all can feel that. It's creating desirable benefits for both the employer as well as the employee. So reduced travel, less time on planes, reduced costs, reduced overhead. But my personal favorite, improved work-life balance. And believe it or not, our competition today, they are turning to email and video conferencing for communicating and connecting across teams and time zones. And these competitors like Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, they are generally playing in the space of only live audio and video communication. So in Step Social Meeting, the solution with pre-recorded meetings with live interaction, you're going to do this in 3 simple steps. You're going to create, you're going to collaborate, and then you're going to connect. How does it work? Well, let me take you through it. So you'll log into Social Meeting and you're going to create sections. You're going to have three options to create content. You can either record yourself with a camera, you can record your screen, or you can record your audio. And sections make it really easy to be able to rearrange your content, and then sections can also be assigned out to other collaborators. So this is where you're going to get the engagement, and then they can be imported back into your meeting. Questions are also inserted into your meeting as well, so you can do this via choosing different question options. You can put as many sections in your meeting recording as you like, and then as soon as you put the sections as well as your questions in your meeting, they are all stitched together for one final file, and that is your meeting, and it's sent out to your recipients with a secured link. Recipients then receive the link, they would click on it, they would be brought to like a YouTube sort of style interface, and they can then view your meeting, interact with your meeting content, interact with groups replying to your meeting thread here, and also any questions that they respond to are going to be collected in the question response tab. So for the meeting creator, this is a very easy way to navigate through the feedback that you're looking for. And last but not least, dashboards are customized to each user. So when I log in, I'm going to see all of my meetings that I've created, all of the meetings I've created for other people, meetings that are in draft mode, and I can also customize my notifications so that I get pinged whenever there's meeting activity in or outside of my meetings. Social Meeting is the easiest way to create interactive pre-recorded meetings without ever having to schedule a meeting. So we make it very easy and adoptable via point, click, record content options, as you saw earlier. We are not a video editing tool, so we don't want to be confused with sophisticated content creating tools, and we're built for multi-generational use. Why now? Well, the emerging work from home culture is super strong. It's not going away. Firms are increasing globalization, so they're operating across the US as well as abroad. And they are pouring increased dollars into digital tools for remote work. And my personal favorite, there are gaps in the market right now for live meeting alternatives. The global video conferencing market is worth $14 billion overall. It's growing at about 20% CAGR, and just capturing 2% of the market would give us about $140 million in annual recurring revenue. This market is growing at 20% CAGR year over year, and it's generally driven by SMBs as well as large enterprise. Go-to-market strategy, we are targeting the fastest growing sectors post-pandemic, which is education, healthcare, and government. We are positioning as a meeting alternative, so this is not going to be a meeting replacement. This is another tool in your toolbox to communicate effectively. And then we're entering in through large organizations, through smaller functional teams that really feel the pain, like marketers, sales, et cetera, to gain favor and traction. progress today, idea has been seated in my mind for quite some time. Business was officially established in May, wireframes completed in June. July, we went through idea validation through one-on-one interviews as well as surveys, and MVP is currently in development now. We're getting ready to test and launch. And last but not least, my only question to you is, if all of your meetings that could have been an email now can be, what will you do with all that time back? Thanks. Awesome.
Tell us about you. You're supposed to tell us your story for the first 6
That
minutes,
is a
and we
hard
look forward to
question.
getting to know you.
Okay. So, Batina Aloisi, you can just call me Batina, because it's a hard name to pronounce overall. I have worked in corporate America for about 15 years for a water technologies company, believe it or not. This is my side hustle right now. I'm a business developer for aerospace and defense business and water technologies, so super boring job, which is the reason why I have the side hustle. I have 2 kids, ages 3 and 5, so my life is really busy right now, and kind of the reason why I created that. And I don't really have a lot of free time, and in my free time, I'm building this.
Have any other questions?
You sort of hinted at your why, which is a real big motivator that it is your kids. Could you go into more depth about what you were hoping to gain by becoming an entrepreneur, knowing what little free time you had, you were automatically giving up?
Sure, yes. So I struggled with putting this into my pitch deck, but the real why, actually the epiphany and when this happened, I was actually on a call. I had been on this call for about an hour or two. It started at 5 a.m. My kids go to school at 7, and I work remotely. And I have like French glass doors in my office, and I like look over, and I'm presenting, and I can see like my little 2-year-old, and his hands are on the glass, and my husband is like peeling him off of the glass, and he's like crying. And it's heartbreaking if you're a mom or a dad or, you know, a parent, because this was happening every day. And so I couldn't see my kids off to school, and I also couldn't actually put them to bed. And so after having enough of those moments, I was like, I have got to do something about this instead of having back-to-back meetings all the time. And I just wanted to have my own flexibility and be on my time instead of somebody else's, so I could be a better mom.
There you go.
Yes.
How do you advertise your business?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I have not advertised it yet, but as part of the marketing strategy, I'm really looking at people that look like me. Not necessarily women, but professionals in highly collaborative roles that just don't have a ton of time. Professionals that are working for global companies, I think that that's probably happening more often than not. And professionals that are just looking for an alternative way to be able to get back more time and communicate with other teams. So that's not answering your question, but it's likely going to be, you know, a digital strategy just because a lot of people are spending time on their computers. And I'm also realizing that one of the obstacles that I'm going to have to think through is going through the people that actually approve tools in enterprise, which is going to be the IT decision makers. So I think that if I can get enough traction with people in the company, and then I can take that and demonstrate that to an IT decision maker, it will help me to get in.
Okay, I got the mic. I loved your presentation. It was very clear. And I really get the who it's for. So it's built for teams that are working across time zones to end the problem of time wasted in meetings. But I'm not fully clear on how it does that. I have, you know, I'm kind of making up my own story about how it does that, but I'm not
Sure.
fully clear how it does that.
Okay. Maybe I can give an example. And again, another idea on how this was born. So after I like cried my eyes out because I had no time to put my kids to bed, I was like gonna find a solution. And so the next day I was like, I was getting ready to roll out a strategy across 3 different regions, which meant 3 different time zones, 3 different times, all the same questions, right? And so I thought, well, how can I minimize this? And so I went online and I was trying to find a recording tool and I couldn't find one. And so I found an audio voice recorder that was just like out of the box on Microsoft. And I decided instead of doing these 3 big rollout meetings, I was going to do I was working in channel management at the time. Channel management updates in 3 minutes or less. And I was going to do that weekly instead of having these like large kickoff meetings. And so I felt like instead of writing this really long email, I can put a link in there. Somebody could click on it. They would know that this was going to take 3 minutes. It was going to be easy to digest and understand. And then I can do this the next week and the next week and the next week. So when I thought about the idea, this is really meant to be digestible communication. So if you guys saw on one of my slides here, meetings that are generally 45 minutes or an hour or more, you're going to see that they're going to be 9 minutes or 15 minutes or 11 minutes, right? And the content options, I want to make it easy to create these meetings as well and to be able to communicate what it is that you're trying to for your audience in an easy way. So people are going to be able to understand how to use this tool, be able to create these really quick sections to demonstrate their concept, and then that's going to give back time. Did that answer your question?
Yeah,
Maybe?
pretty good. And I think it's a winner because, I mean, I'm in situations like this. I don't work in a corporate environment, but I've been, in workspaces like this and have seen what goes on and all the wasted time and everything. It seems like the thing that is, maybe going to be the point between it'll be successful or not is how the notifications work. Because the tool that I use right now for this process is Loom.
Mm-hmm.
And so Loom, provides a lot of these, but it's not built for this particular purpose.
Sure.
But it also seems like the notification, like maybe, the meeting is happening or your name is being mentioned or you're called into the meeting. And
Sure.
so however that notification system, comes to your phone or wherever you're like not in the meeting, but you need to be into it
Sure.
or something like that.
Yeah, no, great feedback. And notifications will be synced to your email.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks
idea.
For the feedback. Yes.
As a product delivery manager, I have to get a lot of these people together. And you mentioned that, you're on call, you're not, you're wasting your time. If you're recording the meeting, how are decisions being made? Because that's just what comes to mind. Like sorry. My question is, I'm a product delivery manager, and I work with folks all over the world and in different groups. And I'm trying to figure out how this concept would work for me to be able to get people to make their decisions. If it's recorded, is it real time or, it's recorded? So are people making those decisions or is there a delay in
Sure.
getting a decision? Because usually that's why you're having the meeting, to make a
bet.
decision.
No, it's a great question. And when I mentioned that this is meant to be a meeting alternative, there would have to be a delineation, is this going to work? So if it's a meeting that requires a high degree of decision making, probably not going to use social meeting, but you absolutely could still have decision making process within the pre-recorded meeting. So the questions feature, you can insert, and I like that because sometimes when I'm asking for engagement, I'm like, all right, well, hey, what about this question? And everybody's like, you can actually have the question be required. So anybody listening to your meeting, they cannot pass go until they provide a response. And then because it's social meeting, so it's like a social media platform, anytime that anybody interacts within your meeting, you can actually be pinged. So that's where that real-time interaction comes into play. So you'd be notified when people answer your question as well as make comments in your meeting. And then if it was important to you, you could go back really quickly and then you can have that dialogue just as you would when you're kind of using your social media platforms.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Hi, and thank you for the presentation. You're doing a great job. We, as entrepreneurs, often provide an answer to a problem that we had personally. So what I'm asking is, why social meeting? Like, why is that to touch you in some way, or is it what's the story behind that?
Why I'm just trying to get back more time. I am a mother, a wife, a horrible friend, a horrible daughter. I'm trying to do these things right during the week because I have no time on the weekend, and I just need more time. That is really what I'm trying to solve for. And not only more time, but if this doesn't work out and I'm working for somebody else, I would just like to have some more ownership over that time.
Hold on a second. You need to. They can't hear you.
Two questions. One, how does the licensing work? And two, where do you see this in 5 years?
Yep, so I am, unlike Loom, because I have thought through them, I am building specifically for enterprise. Loom is generally geared toward contractors, small business, and entrepreneurs. I am building for enterprise. That is where my problem is. And when I interviewed my target demographic, they are in enterprise. They have no idea what Loom is. They're using email and Microsoft Teams, Google Meet. So the licensing will be done on an annual subscription level. It's going to be done at an enterprise level. So they're going to, depending on how many seats that they need, they're going to pay one annual subscription. And then what was your other question? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Oh, God. Okay, in 5 years, hopefully I'm going to be coming back here. I'm going to tell you how successful this business has been. And you guys are going to be like, I know, because I am using you. So this is going to work.
Real quick, how are you as far as data, right? The data stream, and also how did you develop your app?
What do you mean by data stream?
Well, video has data, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're pushing data.
Uh-huh.
So how heavy is your data in comparison to other apps? And who helped you develop your app?
That's a good question. My short answer to that is I don't know yet, because right now we are in MVP and I have nobody actively using the platform right now. I'm going to come back to you if you give me your card, and I'll tell you in about a month. But definitely planning for that. And then your other question, did you have one more? Short-term memory. Oh, I did have, and I'm really happy to say, I'm a Christian and I prayed over this. With everything happening in the war on Ukraine, war of Russia, right? I went on Upwork and I thought, man, it would be such a blessing if I could help somebody who's like in such a turbulent situation. And I got a guy from the Ukraine and it was awesome.
So you're obviously very dynamic, and I feel that Colorado Springs needs dynamic people and business people like you. So what the kind of energy do you need from Colorado Springs to end up staying here over the long term?
This is my home. my husband's in the Space Force, and so we spent 4 years in LA. And there was nothing like Colorado. And so I definitely want to stay. So my roots are planted here for sure. But what I do need from you is my community ask, right here, as I'm building my business. Would love mentorship. I think that this is probably a room that is full of that. So if you've been through it, I'd love to circumvent some of the obstacles. That would be amazing. I would love your feedback. If you think this would work for you, join the waitlist. Right now, we're getting ready to go into beta testing. I would love your feedback if this could be relevant for you. Join the waitlist. Join the waitlist. Angel investors, I'm probably going to be looking for money here pretty soon. And then if you're an entrepreneur, like I totally connect with the hustle. If you guys want to find me on LinkedIn, I am a connector and I love building up my network. So that's how you guys can help.
Okay, I have a follow-on question. Typically with your enterprise deals, it takes about 12 to 18 months to close those deals. So how do you expect to cash flow until you get an enterprise deal?
That's a great question. I've thought about that. So I am going to go to the low-hanging fruit, which is going to be people with less red tape that can make decisions more quickly. So Luma, I'm coming for you. So I'm going to go for small business. I've also looked at going into universities. Universities would definitely benefit from something like this. So I'm going to try and get kind of smaller, more nimble entities to get on first, as well as individual users if it's really solving that pain for them. And then in the meantime, all of my sales budget will be toward B2B marketing.
So I love what you're saying so far, but you say it's to save time. My question is, how long does it take to prepare the video meeting?
Well, when you sign up for the beta, you're going to see. But right now, it's a good question. I've been asked about it before. It's kind of difficult right now just because I don't have a ton of users on, but I'm estimating it'll shave about 30%, if not more. And I think it's also dependent on the role that you're in. So if you were in a highly collaborative role like myself, I mean, literally, I can look at a Monday through Friday, and it's meeting. And a lot of that, I'm just like sitting and scrolling on social media. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to really be there, but I have to be there. And so depending on your role, I think it could save anywhere from 30 to 40%.
We've got 4 minutes left.
So kind of to follow up on the previous question on how how user friendly is it for someone who's creating a meeting? It sounds to me like for a lot of us, when we have one meeting, and especially across time zones, or if we've got new people coming in, our presentation is pretty consistent. We have a few meetings, and maybe we have one meeting that we have to roll out 5 times, or this kind of repetitive thing. So you create the meeting once. You maybe go in every now and then to make updates or whatnot, but you can send that out again and again, and it's as if you were there interacting with the person and creating the kind of presentation and doing that. So that, for me, it feels like that's kind of where the time saving is for someone who's the presenter in the meeting.
For sure.
That you have time to kind of get organized, streamline what your presentation is, not be interrupted by distractions in a meeting, or kind of side conversations in a meeting, or questions that aren't relevant to what the meeting's supposed to be on, and you can really hit the points of the meeting. And it's probably, some kind of lag time to learn how to use the platform, but once you've built 1 or 2 meetings, you get faster, and you're actually presenting through the meeting platform faster than you would considering the lag time in a real-time meeting, so that way you can, present the same meeting over and over again, or at least create your meetings faster than interacting through a real meeting. And then other people are able to access them maybe within a deadline, but on their own time.
Yes. I paid her to say all of that. Thank you. Thanks for showing up.
I have a question. Have you actually talked with any presentation companies to do? I mean, sorry, let me start over. I saw in the interface you can do a video of yourself or the computer screen. Is there a live interaction feature where you could all collaborate and live chat?
Yeah, it's the comments thread. Okay. So just like when you're interacting with somebody on LinkedIn. Oh, live. You mean live without the
like a live stream type of presentation?
Not today, but I am realizing that webinars could be a really good use case. Webinars are really clunky. They're really outdated. I'm doing one for my other company, or not mine, but the company that I'm working for, and it's horrible. So I think that this has a use case there. So definitely exploring that.
So 1 million cups always ask this question. Oh, sorry. Okay, so 1 million cups always ask this question to all their presenters. What can we, as a Colorado Springs business community, do to help you?
Well, you can sign up for the beta. You can sign up for the beta. That's getting ready to be launched in about 3 to 4 weeks. So your feedback would be certainly appreciated. I think there's a lot of bright and brilliant people in this room, so I would just love to hear your experience with the tool. If you have any money, I'll be looking for that really soon, so we should definitely connect. And then again, if you're an entrepreneur and just looking to connect with like-minded people, share best practices, we can cry together. Looking for that too. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I always like a good presentation too. All right. So we can give one more round of applause. So at this point, I'd like to thank our media sponsor, Kevin Fetty of Fetty Studios.
Hello, everyone. Like he said, my name is Kevin Fetty. My company is Fetty Studios. I do video production and, event live stream, and I do photography, and I do drone, photo, video. So if you need help with any of that, definitely let me know. I'm a huge nerd. That's what I like. Woohoo! Here we go.
Thank you. You get too close sometimes. All right. So do we have any first-timers here today? Yes. Good to see you guys. Welcome. So we have our other organizers raise their hands. Everyone's here today. We got a few others who aren't, but if you have any questions, you can come and talk to any of us after the meeting. We usually have some networking time after that. Let's see, do we have any alumni organizers here? Thanks for coming back. All right. Let's see. Do you have community announcements? Yes. Some people who don't even have the. Let's do community announcements now. Thank you.
So for any autophiles we have in the room, this Saturday in Victor is the Rocky Mountain Rambler 500 Fan Fest. It is the most eclectic group of automotive junkies you will find I've ever seen, and probably that is saying something. I go to hundreds of car events a year, and so it's in Victor from 2 to 8, and there's a beer garden and vendors and all sorts of cool stuff. A really beautiful drive up there too.
Short. Good morning, everybody. I would like to see all of your names on the Access COS Hub by the end of the week, if you could. But you go to coloradosprings.myhub.com, and Exponential Impact has created this in conjunction with some other people, but the idea is it's like a Facebook for local entrepreneurs in Colorado Springs. So we have a dashboard. We want you to share resources. We're going to be sharing grant opportunities and anything that comes around that would affect or impact the local Colorado Springs business community. So it's free to get on there and kind of go explore and see what it has to offer for you. coloradosprings.myhub.com. So my HUUB. Or you can just Google Access COS Hub, HUUB again. It's an extra U. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
September being Life Insurance Awareness Month, this is your PSA for the week. How many of you know that life insurance can be used to protect your retirement?
Hello, everybody. My name is Titus Jordan, and I have Glow. Glow workshops are back on. I had Glow workshops back in 2019 before COVID. Well, we're turning it back on. I have Trent Denman and Tony Lee and myself. We're going to be talking about principles and strategies for success. It's this Friday from 2 to 4 up off of Garden of the Gods, 905 West Garden of the Gods, Suite E. So yeah, I'll leave this on the back table. There's a QR code with the address and a very simple sign-up form. So look forward to seeing you there.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jean. I'm from Junior Achievement of Southern Colorado. So we have a lot of volunteer opportunities here in the new school year, a lot in District 2 at the elementary level. And then we also have some opportunities for entrepreneurs like yourselves to talk to high schoolers. So if you're interested, see me or go to soco.ja.org. Thanks.
I want to sneak two in real quick. Springs Ensemble Theater has its season opener. That's some local theater. If you want to go see that, it'll start September 29th through October 16th. Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7:30, Sundays at 2 p.m. I've been a member for about 6 months. I'm also casted as well too, so if you'd like to see a good play. It's also mature content, so don't bring the children. That being said, something for the children. September is Cancer Awareness Month for children. I'm riding my bike 300 miles to raise money for cancer awareness for children. Today is match day, so anything donated today will be matched by the Cancer Research Society. So if you want to, see me after. So thank you.
Hello. Like I said earlier, I'm a part of the Bountiful Table. It is a organization of hyper-local and organic merchants here in the Springs. Every Tuesday here at the Next Desk from 3:30 to 6:30, we will be having our market distribution where we'll be offering coffee, microgreens, mushrooms, and all sorts of stuff. So you can come down and check us out. And also this Saturday is the Springs Vegan Market going on at Hillside Garden or Hillside Community Center. So if you have, if you want to come out to that, that will be this weekend.
Hello, my name is James Wicker, and I'm here on behalf of the Colorado Association of Vintners. You probably heard about Proposition 125. This is to allow wine in grocery stores and convenience stores. I'd highly recommend you vote no against it. The reason we have a thriving craft community is the small mom and pop liquor stores. We estimate that if this bill gets through, it'll reduce space for vintners and wineries around the state for the small crafters by 80 to 90%. And we want to keep the craft companies alive, because that's where you get all your great selection from, is all these small mom and pop wineries. So please vote no on Proposition 125.
My name is Susan Richards, and I host a networking event primarily for women called Wine, Women, and Wealth. It happens to be tonight. It's at 2 South Wasatch. If you're interested, let me know. It's a networking environment that provides a little bit of wine, a little bit of food, a little bit of education, and a whole lot of fun. So, love to have you.
All right, I have 3 things. So anybody interested in learning how to defend themselves, today at 2 o'clock downstairs, we have a class that you can feel free to come to. That's number 1. Number 2, next Wednesday, 6 p.m. at Kawadi is the next Nerd Night. So if you like to drink and learn, please come to Kawadi next Wednesday. And then last Monday of the month, September 26th, is Memoirs. And Memoirs is a true storytelling event where people from our very own community get up on stage and tell a story that's connected to a theme. Then we have local musicians come up and have to match the energy of the story with music. It is a very powerful event. September 26th at Kinship Landing. If you want any information on all those things, let's have a quick chat. Enjoy the rest of 1 Million Cups. We have the 3G coming soon.
Taking my announcement time away, but yes, that's our next. That's a lot of announcements today. So let's, can I have Gregg Sheldon of, is it AutoShop Vocational? Sure is. All right.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming out today. You're all 1 in a million. I said that about 5 years ago, the first time I was up here. If you want to watch that on YouTube, just Google 1 Million Cups and AutoShop Vocational. You'll see me. It's hilarious. I say a bunch of things that I probably shouldn't say, and some things that I might regret. Who knows? Anyways, thank you all for being here. I see a lot of familiar faces. A lot of my friends showed up today, and I wanted to thank all you guys as well. So, I know you guys have busy lives, and for you guys to spend your time with us here at 1 Million Cups, it's like it's a family. You know, we really, Flip and Sam, who's not here, and dozens of people I would call my family, my Colorado family, show up to this once a week, once a month, once every 6 months, or even once a year, but you come out and spend your time with us. So that's really, really special to me and the rest of us. So anyways, my name is Gregg 3G Sheldon. My friends call me 3G. That's why Flip calls me Greg. And so I figured, I'm just going to make light of this. So I'm a social worker turned automotive technician to follow my dream to become an auto shop teacher. I was working as an intensive foster care agency caseworker, and I went to a school meeting, and at the meeting there was an auto shop teacher, and I could tell you nothing about what happened in that meeting. All I could tell you was that that's what I wanted to do for myself. I had no idea how to get there. Usually auto shop teachers spend 4 or 5 years or more, 20 years in the field, and then they go into teaching, because once you are unable to do the actions and lifting the heavy parts and all those things, then you get into teaching. So I didn't have that kind of experience. I've been a backyard mechanic for probably 10 years at that point, rebuilding engines, working on my own cars, fixing my friends' cars, things like that. So was kept with my job for another year or two, and then I was talking to my dad's friend, and I was telling him about my dream to do this. And he said, well, what's it going to take, Greg? Some time and some money? I was like 30. And so I'm like, I have some time, and I don't really have any money, but you can borrow it, right? Student loans, let's have a drink for student loans. Everybody that's got a coffee and a student loan, have a drink. So I quit my job, went to automotive tech school. This is 2010, and I graduated. It was a year-long program, and the biggest thing I learned at automotive tech school was how not to be an auto shop teacher. Very valuable lesson, but not $38,000 worth. and I'm still paying that back today. So I went to go work in the field for several years. I was right after school. I worked at several independent repair facilities and some dealerships, and here I am. I ended up at a Midas, just like a little lube shop doing some exhaust work and stuff like that. But I was the lube guy. Here I am with a bachelor's degree, went to automotive tech school, making $12 an hour, paying $700 a month in student loans. So I was living at home at 30 years old because I couldn't afford to live anywhere else at the time. And so I needed a change, right? I was pretty miserable. And I love Subarus. I've had a little WRX since 2007. And I love that car. They have like 3 or 4 engines and 5 different models, unlike the Dodge dealership that I worked at. They had about 15 engines and 30 different models. So you have to know everything about everything to be proficient at those jobs, because you get paid by the job that you do, not the time you walk in the door. So I love Subarus. I've been working on them for a long time. And so I wanted to work for a Subaru dealership. It was a Saturday. I was at Midas. A bunch of my friends were out camping. And I couldn't go because I had to work on Saturday, making $12 an hour. Here I am, 30 years old and pretty miserable. So anyways, I applied to every Subaru dealership in a 1,500-mile radius of Massachusetts, where I'm from. Yes, I'm a masshole. Those of you that know me know that that's true. I define that as not caring if people like me and having a very dry sense of humor. Pretty good way to go through life. No complaints. Anyways, so I applied to every Subaru dealership within 1,500 miles of Massachusetts, and I made a one-way trip to Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Oh, man. For anybody that's been there, the best part of that place is saying the word, Sheboygan. So I was there for about 8 miserable months. I say I did a stint in Wisconsin because it was kind of like prison. And I'm sorry if you're from there, but I'm sorry. Yes. And so I was there for several months from July to March. And so I worked for a Subaru dealership. It was great. Working on the cars, the people there were less than desirable. A couple of my friends, I got 1 minute left. All right, so fast forward, I applied to every Subaru dealership in Colorado. The one here in town picked me up, paid for my gas to get here, put me up in a hotel for a little while, worked there for a few months. They and I have different ethics. We'll leave it at that. And so then I worked at a couple of other like mom and pop shops here. And in Massachusetts, if you wanted to like go off and do your own thing, you have got a lot of red tape. Like there's a lot of stuff that you got to, people are like, well, you can't go do that. There's already this business or there's already that. Like why would you want to go and start something new? But here it's like, if you want to do something, as long as you're not hurting anybody, you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? And so I always thought I was going to work for a public school. That was my goal for that 7 years from 2000 to 2017 when I moved here. I was moved here in 15, and so in 2017 I realized that I could start my own program. So my family vacation to Cape Cod, my family was at the beach. I was sitting down writing a curriculum, and so my time is up. But if anybody wants to ask any questions about what the next steps were, feel free.
I know you did the Thrive Network, and I was wondering how that helped you.
So Thrive has been implemental in my life. One of the biggest things they taught me was time management and time blocking. So if you look at my cell phone, Mondays, like admin days, it kind of changed to working on my own projects, because I realized that I needed time to work on my own cars and my own projects and stuff like that. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I turn wrenches for other people. And Wednesdays are networking and business. So I come here in the morning from 8:30 to 10:30, 11, and then my Rotary Club meets at noon, so often I'll go to that, and then I'll set up any other meetings or schedule any appointments, because I'm already out in my semi-nice clothes. I always have grease on my pants, so just part of who I am, and my fingernails usually. So the time blocking was one of the major things that's done for me, and working with Taj, who is the creator of Thrive. He's also a personal friend of mine, where we get together quite a bit. But it just kind of gave me like the confidence to build the business that I'm in. And then once I graduated, they asked me to become a board member, because maybe I'm doing something right. And just being able to help the community lifts my sales. I mean, we all get down once in a while, right? Everybody gets, a little salty and just like mad at the world or whatever it is. but I can just think about the cool stuff that I do, the stuff that I've learned, the stuff that I provide the community through Thrive and the other organizations that I assist with. It's really pretty profound, you know. And so I know we have some Thrive graduates and members in here, so thank you all for coming. And another board member. Thanks, Terry.
So if we could kind of pick up where you left off, so next steps, what did you start your own business?
Yep, I got you.
What are your next steps? Where are you at?
It kind of stopped in 2017, and I had just developed a curriculum, but I didn't have a facility. I was at a car show over in Old Colorado City called the Old Colorado City Car Show, and I was talking to this guy. It was the Career Building Academy. I was just like, this person I have to talk to. Hello, my name is Greg, and this is who I am, and this is what I'm trying to do. So he said, I have a space for you. I'm like, well, I don't really have any money. He's like, don't worry about that. Just come talk to us. So I did. I get goosebumps just telling the story. So it's Rick and Joy. Joy has been in here a couple times. She comes and visits once in a while. And so he gave me the space for $1 a month. Within a month, I had the Chevy dealership donating lifts to me. And it's a big, probably 2,500 square foot shop with a classroom and, like a whiteboard. And so I had the lifts up and like everything was moving. And then they had a real estate agent come in. I don't know if any of you guys are real estate agents, but don't come talk to me after this, please. Unless you have space that I can work in. Anyways, so the real estate agent was like, hey, you could get like $3,000 a month for this space. And Rick was just like, He's like, hey, kid, can you give me $2,500? I'm like, knowing what I know now, then, yeah, absolutely. I could have made that happen because we can do anything we want in life, right? You just have to make goals and start making strides towards those goals. Anyways, so I was like, nah, I can't do that. So then I got pushed out to like this little shed in the back with no lifts or nothing, and it was just less than desirable. So I moved over to another spot. Then COVID hit, and I couldn't really. I didn't have a space, because without students, I can't pay rent. And so we pivoted to an online course, which is it's called the Pit Stop Workshop. It's a 7-course video series teaching you to jumpstart your car, change a spare tire, dash lights, engine fluids, and so on. And actually, just now, today, I talked to James Wicker in the back, one of the original organizers of 1 Million Cups. Stand up, James. You're a good guy, doing great things in the community. And his wife, Tiffany, is pretty cool, too. Anyways, so he was talking to me today about we're working on a sales script for the schools, and he's like, you got some really great feedback for that. So that's where we are at this very moment. I do some other things. I make art out of car parts, and we make trophies for car shows. Fix a lot of people's cars. If you have cars that you need work on, come see me. If it's not a job for me, I've got several places to refer you out to that I've referred hundreds of people to, and I've never gotten any negative feedback. I think Steve and a couple of other people have used House of Cars down on Platte and Boulder. They're good friends of mine, good people there. So if it's not a job I'm going to do and save you a ton of money, I'll send you there and you can save a little bit. Any other questions?
What impact do you feel, since your last presentation, you've started to make on the community around us?
Well, not only do I work on people's cars on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I get a lot of phone calls from people in the community that have seen my website, like, hey, we're interested in your fundamentals course and things like that. So I can't teach right now, but I usually have the parent come with their kid. They come meet me at my house, and I turn wrenches on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So they're like, hey, do you guys want to come Tuesdays and Thursdays? I'm not going to pay you, and you're not going to pay me, but I'm going to teach you, how to turn wrenches, the very basics, right? And if it's a job that that I'm going to do, they can help me. Or if it's like an oil change or a brake job or something like that, I just be like, do these things, and then when you're done with that, come see me. So that's one thing that I do to help the community. Also, another impact I have is also through Thrive. We've talked about that for a minute. The Pit Stop Workshop, I teach that in person. Recently, I did that at a school up in like Woodman area, the north end of east end of Woodman. It's really just working with the people. And I also put on a car show the first Saturday of every month that hundreds of people show up at. So that's quite an impact in the car community. And I also teach the pit stop workshop in person, and that's a real great way to provide information for the community. And lastly, usually when I see somebody on the side of the road with a car broken down, I stop and help them. And I carry a weapon with me because that's shit scary. Yeah. Ooh, the geo question. You never know what it's going to be.
I'm just always very astute of like where there's a problem that needs to be solved. And one of the problems that I see and I know is being solved, but it seems almost like you're kind of in a perfect spot to solve this problem, which is the training people for the mini roadside basic repairs. There's a whole network now that like a social network that you can sign up and do basic repairs. Is that would that be a good fit for the kind of things that you're training these young folks for, because they could immediately get a job? I mean, there's a demand for it like right now.
So what my answer to that question is the Pit Stop Workshop is online on Teachable, and you can purchase it right now today. Please do. It's so that's like basics, like automotive life skills. And so the fundamentals course trains lube techs. Goes from anybody that has a driver's license to being able to go get a job. That's what I taught in person. My longer term goal, so thank you for asking what my 5-year plan is. So it's a 20-day curriculum that trains anybody to be able to go get a job in the field. So what my plan to do is once I reopen it in person is digitize those trainings and then have the labs all be in person and sell it to places like Phil Long or Jiffy Lube or Midas, where they can purchase the curriculum. They hire their own people, find somebody that has some drive, because that's one thing that's one of the only things I can't teach is work ethic, right? And that's a big problem with today's kids. I don't know why. Maybe it's video games. Who knows? Maybe it's social media. Who knows? Anyways, I can't teach that. So if they have somebody that has some drive, especially the dealerships where they have a lot tech, which is somebody that details cars, like a gopher if they need parts or something like that. So if they have a lot tech, they can offer them the fundamentals course. So they take the videos and then they work with the older guy in the shop to do the labs, because the young guy can't administer labs. The middle guy is hustling, trying to feed his family. So the older guy who's on a phase in his way out wants to teach the next generation the tips and tricks that he's learned over the last 30, 40 years, right? So then you get to build a relationship between the new guy and the old guy, and that to me is invaluable. So that's, to answer your question, that's what's coming. And the fundamentals course in person, I can do that, but it's limited by the number of people that I can teach it to, or the number of people that will come to the class. But if we do it so that it's all digital, which is the way kids are used to learning now already, it'll be much more beneficial for people not only in Colorado, but throughout the country, hopefully the world someday. Flipster?
Can you tell us about where your passion grew from for this?
Yeah, thanks. Great. That is a great question, and I love talking about this. I call it wide open throttle therapy. Even as a kid, I did. It's in January of this year. If you guys want to look it up, it's pretty funny. And so even as a kid, I was into RC cars. I would take my toy cars apart and see how they worked. Like get the little electric motor and put a little 9-bolt on and just watch the motor spin. And like me and my buddy in my 3rd grade class, we had like these little things, and we would bring them to class and we'd like hang out with each other, and we're just gearheads like from the beginning, right? So video games didn't really jive with me. I needed something to do. And so one of the video game, I don't know if you guys remember Zelda when we were kids, you had to hit the reset button before you hit the power button so it would save. Mine didn't save, and I broke the thing over my knee. I was pissed because it was like the 3rd time in a row. I mean, I spent months working on this, and I'm very digitally, I don't know what the word is. No, I'm very good at that. But it's the figuring things out and figuring out where to go. I can figure out how things work, but on a screen trying to like figure out where to go and things, that wasn't for me. So I went and took apart my bicycle, greased all the bearings, make sure everything was tight, and then my parents bought me what we call a hobby grade RC car. If you have any kids that are under 16 and don't have their driver's license yet, and they have a desire for this, hobby grade RC car is the number one thing that I can work to tell you that's what would be beneficial for them. And the last couple weeks, I've been thinking about pivoting from going into the school to starting an RC car track here, because we have one back in New England, and the guy that runs it is a man among men. There's a couple people that I've said that about in my life. Steve is one of them. Just somebody that, like, if you need him, he'll give you the shirt off of his back, right? So that's something that is very beneficial for the community. Friday night racing, it's just a way for people to get their need for competition out and to tinker with things. Not everybody has that desire, but there's 500,000 people here. So there are some people that have a desire to go and work on these toy cars. And the other part of it is, for me, is I say that, did I shut this off? I know you're good. I utilize automotive to teach young people to become adults. And so for me, what that means is the first day of class is I tell the kids, I'm going to give you a little razzing, right? Some kids, they appreciate it. They already know it's coming because they know guys like me. Some people don't have a positive male role model, or a role model that is snarky. And the way that men show affection for each other in a lot of the skilled trades is by busting each other's balls. And we're all adults here. I can say those words. And so I teach the kids that, listen, if I hit a nerve, tell me, and I won't go back to that. But I'm going to still give you the business, because if you can't take in the light-duty razzing that I'm giving you, you're not right for the automotive industry. Some guy's going to bust your balls a little bit, and you go to the service manager, like, that guy's being mean to me. The service manager's going to be like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Do you want this job or not, kid? You know what I mean? So what I tell them is that when they do that, give it back to them. Be like, yeah, well, your mom stinks. Just give him something. And that guy is going to be like, dude, all right, you're trying at least, right? You know what I mean? So I'm going to take you under my wing. I'm going to teach you the ways of the world here, and maybe we're going to become friends. And that's why the guy busts your balls to begin with, because he's like, I'm going to feel this guy out. So to me, that's what I do, is I utilize automotive to teach young men to be men. And because that's what I needed as a kid. My father always taught me to be respectful and all these things, and these guys would bust my balls, and I was like, well, why is this guy being mean to me? And now I don't. I mean, I was 14 when I realized this, 15, and I was like, well, nobody taught me this. So my job is to be the Uncle Charlie Harper when it's appropriate. It's not always appropriate. Sometimes I've had kids coming in crying because they just, like a 16, 18-year-old kid coming in crying because he just had a fight with his adult. That's where my social work skills come out. I have this unique skill set of social worker and automotive technician. I will bet any of you guys, if you find anybody in any community that has worked in both of those fields, I will give you a crisp $100 bill, because it is worth at least $100 for me to talk to that person, right? They and I have a lot to talk about. Long answer to your short question. Anybody else?
I think we are getting a little close on time, but we may have to take the super secret question.
I think Ben has it back there. That's all right.
Sorry about that, 3G.
No worries, buddy.
So, your super secret question is, what can we as a Colorado Springs business community do to help you?
I did try to prepare a little bit of content for you guys, thinking about how I was going to tell the story, and I didn't think of this one. Support the community here. Come to 1 Million Cups more often, whenever you can. If you can come once a month, great. If you can come once a year, great. If you can't come, watch it on TV. Or you guys. Thank you guys for all being here. All 3.5 viewers we got there. Thanks for showing up. If you need any automotive work, come talk to me. I don't get any kind of kickback through House of Cars or the places that I refer, but I do get to go and use their facility when I need it. and they're good people that I know, like, and trust. Other things are if you want to learn how to jumpstart your car and change a spare tire, look me up on Teachable. It's AutoShop Vocational. We have the fundamentals course. If you work at any schools, you or your kids go to school, be like, hey, I've heard about this cool curriculum. It's super cheap when it comes to curriculums. For a year it's $4,000, and they pay like $40,000 to $100,000 for curriculums. And for that revenue stream, I'm planning on adding how to buy a used car, insurance, registration, all these kinds of stuff, so that it's going to be a full elective at some point in the near future, or future, maybe not near future. So, and just like come to car shows. Bring a kid to a car show. If you have a kid that's interested in automotive, bring them and just show them. Like it's much better than doing drugs. You can get into a lot of trouble with idle hands, Once I got into cars, I didn't have money for anything else. I mean, my friends will tell you, I don't go out very often. When I do, I'm thinking about what I can do to my car. Actually, yesterday, short story, I love these cars. They're 80s cars. I have 4 of them now, and they're in various states of running. And 2 run really well. One is a long-term project, but yesterday, I finished paying off $14,000 for this car that I wanted, that I've wanted forever. It's a friend of mine's car. He wanted me to have it. In May, I made the commitment to pay him $14,000. Those of you that know me, I'm not a big dollar guy. Money is not important to me. And so, but it is when I want something, right? So over the last 4 months, I paid off $14,000 because I said I was going to do it. I wrote down goals, and I accomplished it. I did it one week late. And I went up yesterday. I got a bunch of parts of the turbo and the exhaust manifold are sitting in my passenger seat because that's like the crown jewel of this, because you pop the hood and you see like this beautiful engine bay and then like the nice turbo. I don't know if you guys know what turbos are, but they're pretty cool. All right, well, thank you guys all for coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What? I get a mug? And also, I know I forgot to give one to Batina. Thank you for your presentations today. All right. That was awesome. It's always nice to have a good resource in the community. All right. So at this point, we'd like to thank our space host, Judy Paring of The Next Us.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out. Always love other people who are going to be here and support the entrepreneurs. Welcome to The Next Us. Thanks for being here. We are a buzzing network of daily business dealings and a creative assortment of referral-based businesses, offering an ever-fluctuating spectrum of facets that each unique professional brings to the space as they spread their wings. From high-end practitioners that offer each their own range of health, wellness, and fitness services and offerings to consultants and many self-driven businesses that have jump-started and launched, networked and merged, or expanded. And we are rooted in already locally established entrepreneurs who continue to thrive, as around each other, each of us, together, we all evolve. So thanks for being here, guys.
That about wraps it up for today. I'd like to leave you with a little thought that every moment is a new beginning. It's kind of rang true with me this week a lot, so I'm trying to just restart when things are not going right. So have a great day.
Hey guys, anybody, any of my friends who are here to support me and want to come and take a picture with me, I'd greatly appreciate it if you guys would come up, just come up front and take a picture with me, please.